بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيد الأنبياء والمرسلين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين أما بعد. We usually take this time before Salatul Jummah to answer any questions that have been submitted online. If you're interested in having your questions answered, feel free to download our app. It's the Al-Hijrah app. It's available on both the Play Store and the App Store. Or you can go to our website, hijrah.org. It's HIJRAH.org. So the first question, the shayateen who serve Iblis, are these just jinn who choose to do evil? Well, Wallahu alam. I would imagine so, because just like mankind is given khiyar, just like mankind is given a choice, the jinn are also given a choice. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he was sent to both jinn and ins. He was sent to both the jinn and to mankind. If Iblis didn't exist, would humans still be bad? Because the angels pointed out about our nature when Allah was creating us. Wallahu a'lam. This is a very hypothetical question. But I would imagine Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He said that He would test us in different ways. So had it not been from Iblis, it would have been in other ways. Some say Iblis' throne is in the Bermuda Triangle. I don't think so. There are so many individuals mentioned all over the Quran throughout the different stories. However, why aren't any of these individuals included in our actual recorded human history? So the reason is because the Quran spans recorded history, and it spans something that's also called prehistory. I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but this idea of prehistory is before humans actually started recording their history. There are many popular opinions, like about, for example, like Dhul-Qarnayn. Some people, they say he was Alexander the Great. The problem with that is Alexander the Great was pagan, so it doesn't really fit the narrative of him being Dhul-Qarnayn. It's most likely that more likely that he was Darius. And again, Darius is prehistory, before recorded history actually started. And Allah knows best. So when we talk about how come we don't hear about these individuals or hear about these people, it's because many of these things happened before humans started recording their own history. In the Quran, many individuals such as Musa, Dhul-Qarnayn, even Isa alayhi salam are mentioned by name, but this is still before the Quran. Did they refer to Allah as something else, or was Allah referred in this name? So there are different ways that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is addressed. And because Allah is an Arabic term, I would imagine that it was the first time that it was used. Either it could have been used by Adam alayhi salam, because there are some weak hadith to indicate that he spoke Arabic. And then it came back when Arabic again became the language of the final message. But before that time period, were there different names that could have been used to express Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Absolutely. The galaxy is even larger than we already understand. Is there anything that Allah created beyond the galaxy? I would imagine. Are there things? Yes. The angels being a perfect example of that, right? So the angels are something that live beyond our galaxy, something that we don't know about. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created paradise. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created the hellfire. All of these things are beyond the known galaxy and beyond the known things that we know about. Is it possible that there are things that other than that He created? Absolutely. But we are only obligated to believe in those things that He Azza wa Jal obligates us to believe in. And those are the 6 pillars of Iman. How long will the Day of Judgment be? There are some narrations to indicate that it'll be like 50,000 years, or like a very long period of time, but exactly, wallahu alam. What will be the fate of Abdullah and Amina? So this is something that there is khilaf on, and these are the parents of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. There is a narration where a man was crying over his mother because she had died a pagan. And he asked the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, "What is the fate of my mother?" And he sallallahu alaihi wasallam responded, he said, "The fate of your mother is the same as the fate of mine." If someone does not face calamities in their lives, does this mean that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not love them as much? Now, I can't tell someone how much Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves them, but a sign that an individual is loved by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the fact that he or she is tested. The companions used to worry when things were easy, right? So when things were going smoothly, they actually used to worry that, okay, there's something going on, or they would prepare for some type of hardship that is coming. it's important to understand, yani, hayatuna, like our lives are bain al-qabd wal-bast, right? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, sometimes He gives and sometimes He takes away. When He Azza wa Jal gives, we should be thankful, and we should prepare for those times where things are going to get difficult. This is hada sunnatullah. This is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is how He deals with His creation. But if an individual, so there's the perception of a calamity, because some people think even if bad things happen, they deal with it very well. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made them patient, or they themselves have a very high level of taqwa, or they're actually not facing any calamities. And if that is the case, they're actually not, then it is something that I personally would find very worrisome for myself. Does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have equal love for all His servants? No. He, Azza wa Jal, He loves the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam the most out of all of His creation, without a doubt. How can we know if someone is from the awliya? So the first question would be, what is a wali? How do you define what a wali is and who is a wali? A wali is a mu'minun taqi. A wali is a believer who has taqwa of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And how do we determine if an individual is a wali? This person is going to have very clear apparent signs of righteousness, right? We're going to see this person, not only does he pray and he fast and he do all of the things that he's supposed to do, but the way that he even deals with other Muslims. So he's fulfilling all of his obligations toward Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and because he or she is fulfilling those obligations toward Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, these are reflected in how he is dealing with others. And if we see him dealing well with others, we see him bringing people together, we see him good with his family and his relationship. He gives people good advice. He's not judgmental. She helps others when she's given the opportunity. These are all signs of an individual being a wali. But how do we know for sure if they are? Allah knows best. The only people we know for sure that have a status in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are the ones that He Azza wa Jal spoke about in the Quran. Those are particular individuals in addition to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam and the companions of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam as a whole. Is there more reward in being a qari or an imam who teaches and helps guide people? So a lot of these, when we talk about a qari or we talk about a teacher, even the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he talks about these people, he talks about them not in the capacity that they're doing it themselves. It's because of the benefit that they are bringing others. So whether an individual is a qari or whether an individual is a teacher, both of these people are ones that bring benefit to others. So the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, an example of this, he says, "Khayrukum man ta'allama al-Qur'an wa 'allamahu." Yani the best of you is the one who learns the Quran and teaches it to others. And he sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, the mathal al-abid and alim is just like the qamar, is just like the moon and the rest of the stars. And if we look at the moon, not only is it more beautiful than the other heavenly objects, but it also provides light. Yani when there is a full moon, and it allows individuals to see better in the dark and at night. So only Desi people follow the Hanafi madhab, and this is why they are so strict. I don't think so. So one of the reasons that it's so popular in the subcontinent is more so because of a madrasa called Madrasa Deoband. Madrasa Deoband, it actually spread. The teachings of the madhab, they don't encompass the entirety of the madhab. So in Madrasa Deoband, they have a reference point that is called Fatawa Hindiya. This is something that is very unique to the Hanafis of the subcontinent. But if you look at the Hanafis, for example, in Syria, they don't even use this book as a reference point for the madhab. So you do have pockets of Hanafis in different places, but in the subcontinent, yes, a majority of them do follow the Hanafi madhab, but there are Hanafis in other places in the Muslim world. Historically, for example, the Ottoman Empire was very famously a Hanafi, and Allah knows the best.